select another magnetic gameplay?
Serve the ball in the court, pass great, and compete. No, this time of year is about trying to play our best volleyball, and there's going to be some really the game's going to challenge us. It doesn't depend on it doesn't matter who we're playing. So Long Island's going to challenge us in a different way than our next match will, and the next one. So we just got to be prepared to work through those things and how they do challenge us, whether it's nerves, whether it's something they're doing that we haven't seen before, you know, because these teams are all outside the Big Ten.
What does Long Island do that will challenge you?
Well, they're a very good serving team. That's the first thing that we noticed. So our passers are going to have to do a good job. The other thing they're going to do is they're a little slower tempo than what we're used to. So we worked on that today, preparing our players, because most teams we play go really fast in the Big Ten. This is going to be a little bit slower, so it's going to mess with our block timing a little bit, and so on. And so those are my two biggest things that we're focused on playing those guys.
Coach, how much goes into not looking past Long Island, but still trying to scout the other teams as a potential Saturday matchup, and some other teams that are in the Lincoln Quarter will focusing on the game at hand?
Well, we're not looking past anybody. It's you can't do that, and I think our team has done a great job of that this year. But we have to do that in the Big Ten because we're playing two great teams every week. So we're used to having multiple game plans and then pulling them out depending on who we play. So for us, it's routine. We prepare for this all year. So it's if we win tomorrow night, you know, whoever we're playing Saturday, we'll be able to go through a practice Saturday and be prepped.
You mentioned nerves being something that you may have to work through. Obviously, this is a young team. There's no seniors on it. Quite a few players have not been to the NCAA tournament. How do you, as a team, work through those young player nerves when you get to the tournament like this?
I don't think these guys have nerves that bothers them. And you guys say we're young. Remember, we have 137 years experience. That's a lot. So I think these guys are fired up to compete and play. I think they love these moments, and this is just another. You know, all these matches are huge now, and you know, we got to look at all the tension going on today, and what makes it exciting for them is these are teams we're not used to playing in the Big Ten, so that makes it. There's an excitement and an anticipation to that, and then you know our crowd's going to be wired. This is an NCAA tournament, so these are fun matches that I think in a way is a celebration of the year, but we know every point's going to matter, and I think these guys thrive on that.
What do you think of the story of Long Island and this tournament? I mean, a few weeks ago they're the number 4 seed in their tournament. Now they get to come to Nebraska and see how they can stack up.
Yeah, well, it's the NCAA tournament, and I just heard walking in here, Western Michigan just knocked off Auburn 3-0. I mean, there's already on paper that's a big upset. And I when I saw the bracket, I'm like, there's going to be a lot of great matches starting on the first day, and you know, Long Island will be super fired up because they probably thought they'd never be in this moment. Now they get to play Nebraska at Nebraska in front of 8,000 people, and so I mean that's sports, man, and that's, you know, basketball calls it March Madness. I don't know what we call it in volleyball, but it's becoming more and more like that. So it's pretty cool.
Not just this matchup with Long Island specifically, but with all your opponents. How much of it goes into scouting them and trying to negate their strengths versus just playing your own game?
That's a good question. The priority is always our side of the net, but you have to be able to, you know, we pride ourselves on being a great defensive team, so you have to understand what they're trying to do and how we can slow that down and take that away. It's no different in basketball, football. I mean, those are also two great comparisons to use. You're just trying to leverage your strengths and limit theirs. And so I think we do. It's why we're one of the top defensive teams ever in the nation every year. It's not just by luck that happens. It's pretty much very consistent, and we work really hard at it. And again, I learned that when I started coaching football. When I first started coaching, I ended up being a defensive coordinator, and I've always known ever since then, if you can play defense, you got a chance.
Stylistically, does Long Island remind you of a team you've played before? I mean, they're a little bit shorter on the pins. I mean, they got some big girls, but a little bit undersized with the pin, especially today. Can you point of comparison to anything you've seen this year?
Not that I can remember. I mean, all I have in my head right now is Big Ten. So, they're not as physical as what we've seen in the Big Ten.
Mhm.
They're just, there's not many teams that are. So it's, but we'll have to adjust. We played some teams in the non-conference, that were at Utah State, for example, wasn't that physical. I'm trying to remember SMU, and but it doesn't mean they're not good players. It's not always how high you jump or how tall you are. I've seen a lot. I mean, look at Chloe Chacon. She'd be still a short player on that team, but she's pretty dang good.
Coach, you guys cleaned up pretty well when the postseason awards came out today for the Big Ten. I know you haven't put a lot of stake in the weekly awards. How much do these mean, and any reaction or anything that surprised you out of it?
I really haven't thought about it. It's always, I think one of the greatest compliments you can get as a program, as a player, as a coach, is when your peers are selecting those awards. So, the media does it, or, some committee somewhere, like for the ABCA. But the fact that, this is over 10 weeks, and our players that received recognition proved it over 10 weeks playing against a lot of different teams. And I think that's one of the greatest compliments you can get in looking at awards like that. So I think it means a lot, and because it's coming from coaches that we play against.
Coach, ESPN today, 8 hours ago, released their graphic saying that this year was the most consumed women's volleyball regular season ever on ESPN platforms. What do you think is driving that year after year, these records being set with people wanting to watch this sport on TV?
Well, this year it was a stadium match, created a huge interest across the country, and then it drew more fans. Everybody was breaking attendance records. You get more people hooked on volleyball, and then they're watching it on TV if they can't be at the match. But I can't tell you how many emails I've received over my coaching career of somebody that the story goes like this. I went to my first Husker volleyball match, and how do I get season tickets? I love this. And once you get people seeing it live, they fall in love with it. And I think the stadium match had major exposure to a lot of people, and I think we're seeing the fallout from that, and that's why it's been great this year. Plus, there's a lot of great volleyball and great teams in competition now, and there's been some really high-level volleyball.
How do you keep that momentum going, knowing that you can't pull off a stadium match like every year?
I don't know. I don't know. We've been doing it, so it's these other teams need to continue to promote it and make it a big deal, and like when we were at Wisconsin, they still have general admission seats there, and people are lined up for hours trying to get these general admissions. That's why, like I said, hey, I hope our fans appreciate it. They know where they're sitting when they get here. They don't have to fight over seats and I just think, Rutgers never charges. They need to start charging. So I think that's the next part of it is, let's make this, it's something that's worth it. It's, it's a privilege to go, and it's fun to go to, and people want to go to it. And I think it's just going to continue to build that momentum.
Do you think the national championship being aired on ABC will have an effect like that?
It could. I don't know enough about ABC and how that works, or ESPN. I just don't know enough about it, but everybody's saying this is a huge accomplishment. I'll date myself. My favorite show growing up was ABC Wide World of Sports. I was glued to that every Sunday night at 5 o'clock, I think. That was the most awesome show ever. So ABC resonates with me. But I couldn't even tell you what, there's so many channels now, I don't even know what channel it is, what number it is, but. Yeah. So, I don't know, I just, I get on there and, but ABC Wide World of Sports is where I fell in love with sports, watching that.
Coach, how good does it feel though for you and knowing that Nebraska is leading this charge with volleyball across the nation for at least collegiate volleyball and wanting and getting people into the seats? I mean, every match it seems like Nebraska's been on the road. People want to just come and see your team play. How good does it feel knowing that your team has kind of set that trend?
Well, I think we've been the leader of that for years, and now the fact that Creighton and Omaha are doing this as well, and Kearney broke attendance record, Wayne State broke attendance records. So I've always said Nebraska's the epicenter of volleyball, and it's continuing to grow, and now we're really proving it all across all levels, and same with high school too. I'm still blown away every time I see the high school state championships. It's unreal. And I see, some of our recruits, their state championships, it's rough, and I see what these kids get to do here and play in Devaney, and play in the stadium for football. I mean, it's awesome.
Couple more?
You said this team this year can win different ways, win matches different ways. What are some of the different ways that you won matches this year?
Well, we've won it with defense, we've won it with offense, we've won it with out-serving and passing. We've won it with winning super long rallies. I'd say this year we've won most of the long rallies. And then just winning it by, being gutsy and gritty and finding a way to, win a joust at the net, just whatever it takes, it's just a willpower. So those are all the different ways I think we won matches this year.
What does it say about this team that you had 6 different players that earned honors today?
I don't know, I gotta think about that one, but, we try to be balanced, and so we don't have just one player leading us. I saw a stat today that Sarah Franklin gets almost 50% of their out-of-system swings. Okay, I think our highest was Harper at 34%. It's a big difference. So we got a lot of people taking big swings, and trying to, balance the load. And so I think that might be reflected in some of those awards, but we're a balanced team, and we got a lot of players that are contributing to that.
Did Lindsay practice this week?
Yeah.
What's her status?
She was here today.
What's her status?
She's not ready to play yet, no. But she may go through warm-ups tomorrow. That could be a pretty cool thing. She's getting closer.
All right.
Okay, guys, thanks. Have fun.